Good morning, traders. Let's get this show started. My name's Zach. This is Real Deal Futures if you are new here. Before we jump into the charts, make sure you read what is on the screen. Trading is risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. I'm just an idiot here trading live with you guys on YouTube. Do your own research. Make your own trading decisions. Also read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Welcome to the show on this beautiful Thursday, March 20th. Got up and rolling just a couple minutes before the bell here. I'm just going to do a once over on my charts since I marked them up a little bit earlier, kind of see if anything needs to be shifted around. Get rid of this vertical line for now. We are looking at Micro ES, MES here on the Project X platform. This is Topstep X. I'm copy trading across 4 funded accounts. Gonna see if we can make some money today or take some L's, right? We're gonna trade our system, let the odds play out in our favor over time. We don't know if we're gonna have to take L's. We don't know if we're gonna have to take W's. Of course, we want to take W's, but we don't know what's gonna happen next, and we don't need to make money. Rest in peace, Mark Douglas. What's up, guys? What's up? Good morning, Jordan. Good morning, Wolf. Good morning, Trader Monk. Let me see. Yes, we got overnight low. We got prior day high. I've got my prior day low. I've got overnight low kind of getting overlapped by value area low. I've got yesterday's volume profile, value area high, value area low, and volume point of control. And then I do run the visible range volume profile. Along with that, a VWAP, traditional volume down on the bottom. It's pretty much my whole chart setup. Discretionary levels up and down, above and below price. Kind of interesting, kind of just chopping here, man. We had FOMC yesterday. We really rose on the news, cracked these highs, and have sold directly back off, man. So this is looking dangerous coming into the open, which we are opening up right here, right now. Dropping down to lower time frames, we can kind of see this wild overnight pre-market session that we're dealing with here. This is market open. We are here at 9:30 a.m. Trade well today, traders. Structure your risk. Trade your system. Trade your plan, whatever that is, whatever that means to you, and accept whatever risk you put on. So overnight session, yeah, we could see what happened late in the session yesterday, right? 2 p.m. The federal funds rate came in, and then through the 2:30 p.m. conference, market just absolutely pumped. Did sell off right into the close. Popped and drifted higher overnight through Asia and into London. And then we had a really harsh turn to the downside here. Don't know if there's fundamentals behind this. Really don't care. Selling off really aggressively. We're down below VWAP. Pulled back up to test this volume point of control, this area of high volume. And now we're selling off right into the open. This looks dangerous, man. This looks really dangerous to the downside. We've already tested this level after finding support at this key level right here. What we've put in as the overnight low, and this low from the Newswick from the 2 p.m. candle yesterday. This is looking really weak to me, to the downside. Could we just be retesting here before we blast off? For sure, absolutely. Like that's plenty in store. It's the 5-minute like zoomed out. But for me, this is looking really weak. I think we got another area of high volume. Just looking at kind of all of this consolidation, all of this down here that we may want to come and test. But if we continue this sell-off like right here into the open, this may be a rip your face off to the downside type of move. I'm not going to jump into that. I'm not going to jump into anything too quickly right off the bat. We had some 8:30 news. I'm going to see what's tomorrow, what we're looking like for tomorrow on the calendar. Jump down to the 1-minute chart. This is my preferred trading time frame here on ES. That's why I mark my chart up with so much BS these days, just so I can get a frame of reference of kind of what we're looking like in yesterday's volume profile, what we did in the overnight session, what we did yesterday, highs and lows, and then really my discretionary levels are pretty few and far between these days. To the downside, we've got a couple. If I look on Bookmap, 5680 to the downside. We do have some liquidity on the book right at this area. If we start to come down below, we could see that fill. 5650, we have quite a bit on the book. All the way down here. We have quite a few orders on the book down here. It's looking like 440. So that'll be interesting to see what happens if we start to sell off to the downside. But for now, as you guys know, I like to stay patient off the open. Let the market open up. Let whatever volatility come into the market, kind of get a feel for what that looks like for the day, and then look to trade. So we'll give this thing a few minutes to open up. Again, said I was just going to check news. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on here with me. Banner up above me, code RDF at all your favorite prop firms. Link in the chat to Tradeify. Code RDF works at Tradeify for 35% off. They're also running a wild deal. It's $45 for a 100K eval account, not the straight to funded. But that is that's pretty wild. Yeah, 10 a.m. existing home sales. That kind of sucks. Then we got Trump speaking. Ooh, we got Trump potentially speaking. Due to speak at the Digital Asset Summit in New York via satellite. Orange folder, but that's a fresh one that was just recently added. They're showing it was added just a couple hours ago. Okay, so we're gonna deal with a little bit of craziness this morning. Existing home sales is a 10 a.m. news event, and then 10:40 a.m. is Trump is scheduled to speak, and that could be dicey. Let me just look at another site. Yeah, 10 a.m. existing home sales. That's dicey. And then we got Trump scheduled to speak 10:40. That could be a problem. All right, let's see how this opens up. Kind of watch what we get here. Won't get too sucked into news. But yeah, what's going on, guys? Appreciate you being on here. Wolf says, I'm sad that I may not frequent here from April 1st. Wolf, we're gonna miss you. One of the doctors here has offered me a job to be an assistant physician, and I'll be working there. And find time to trade too. Awesome, man. Congratulations. You're on here every damn day. You're active in the community. I really appreciate you, man. There's been some, Brian as well, Jess as well, Jordan, been seeing you on here lately, so I appreciate you guys. But congrats, man. That's awesome. Getting a job and being able to find time to trade around that, getting that outside source of income, go for it, brother. Do your thing. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. Glad to hear that. It's awesome to have a community that I get to hear what you guys are doing. It's great, man. Brian, what's up? Jess, what's up? Good morning. Hoping for price to come back down and go lower for entry today. Yeah, man, we'll see. Again, absolutely, man. I'm always happy to hear that. All wins, inside and outside of trading, man. And being in a spot where you're able to have outside income, multiple sources of income, big fan of that, man. Big fan of that. While I consider myself a full-time trader, I've actually considered not saying that anymore. I don't think it's great to have this really romanticized view of only trading, because that's not all I do. Obviously, I'm on here with you guys. I have multiple sources of income. I stand to make money multiple other ways. And I think most people in this, as a trader, if you're going to be an independent trader working with prop firms, you want to consider yourself an entrepreneur. Maybe you consider yourself a business owner, right? Have an LLC. Yeah, man, always be looking for other ways to make money, especially if it's in your career, that type of deal. So great work. Yeah. So Ryan, we're watching this push to the upside right here, right now. Again, from this point, I think we can go either way. What was really concerning to me so far is we cracked on FOMC, right? And then we continued on that initial push to the upside through the press conference. We held that overnight, but we really aggressively sold off into the open. And before the NYSE session, we've tested that Newswick low, didn't crack it here in ES, that 2 p.m. Eastern from yesterday. pulled back up to this middle ground, this area of high volume. Yesterday's volume point of control. You could see it on the volume profile right here. Temporary volume point of control on the 5-minute. Just a general area to pay attention to. If we zoomed farther out, you could see how this area has to come into play multiple times. Then we sold directly back off. So that until we've turned so far was looking dangerous to the downside. Let me just scroll out, let the VWAP reset here. Now finding some buyers stepping in right back up to this area. Indecisive, somewhat indecisive. I think we could, again, like I said, I think we could absolutely see a bullish day out of this. We did get past the news, right? So I was talking a little bit about news. When we have big FOMC, or federal funds rate, NFP, some big thing in the middle of the week or towards the end of the week, oftentimes the market kind of chops and consolidates. We saw a lot of that in anticipation of this. Now that we're past it, oftentimes what we see is larger movement play out. We see market participants, big institutions, whatever it is, larger, movers of price essentially step in and say, okay, time to actually have this thing move rather than just chop around. So I'm aware of that. I try not to hold too strong of a bias. It almost is never helping me out. I've got to actually get better at just not holding any bias coming into the day and just saying, hey, I'm going to watch what happens on low time frames and trade that. But I do believe we could form some larger movements today into Friday. But we'll see. Again, I don't have a strong bias on this outside of what I described coming into the day. That was looking dangerous to the downside. Down below these lows, that's a scary place to start going. I think we could quickly continue to the downside, break prior day's low, and then really consider low into this area that we've been kind of chopping around when we look on the daily chart. Conversely, we flip this to the upside and we start cracking and make this a bullish candle. That could be a really big indication that we may see large bullish movement. We may see a continuation of this high. This is just a natural correction before a big push to the upside. So again, I know I'm making the case for either way here, but that's how I feel on this. I think we could really go either way today. Right here, right now, so far in the session, push to the downside, just objectively reading what's on the chart, crack back up to an area of high volume and consolidating here for the first 10 minutes of the session. Below VWAP, low in yesterday's candle range, bearish candle forming right now, kind of in the middle of yesterday's volume profile, near volume point of control. You can see value area high, value area low over here. So somewhat neutral. I'm going to wait to see. We start breaking this low, I'm going to look to sell into that. We test VWAP. I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant on buys from down this low. I'm going to wait to see what kind of structure forms. We start to come aggressively above this. Maybe a break and retest, around this area, and then continuation, I would look for a buy. So nothing crazy right off the rip. Keeping it calm, keeping it cool, and see what develops here. That's my game plan. Sticking to it. But again, guys, a lot of comments, a lot of talk on prop firms these days. Got some really, really cool stuff that I'll be talking about with you guys coming up in a week. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe across socials. You got all my links at the top of the chat. Let me see if I could actually pin this. Yeah, you got all my links on the top of the chat, my socials. Big announcements coming in the coming weeks. But for now, code RDF at all your favorite firms. Again, Tradeify is running a special deal. It's, let me just actually make sure I pull that up. What that discount exactly is. So it's 35% off the straight to funded accounts, which is what I trade. I have a 5-pack of the 50Ks. This is a flash sale good until tomorrow. It's $45 for the 100K advanced account. It is a challenge account, but it's a pretty heavy deal from the standard 109 that is. Again, code RDF, link in the chat for Tradeify if you want to check those accounts out. Again, different rules across different firms, right? Do your own research, make your own decisions, and I can't be unbiased because I stand to make money. So there's the transparency. Good morning, good morning. Let's get this bread. Let's get this bread. Bullish on YM, looking for longs today. Ooh, Jess says I was 48,130 in one combine. So you were $130 away from failing it. I took the long with 1 mini. I closed it now at 418. Looking for more entries to rescue this account. My wicked XFA is still wicked, and I'm too scared to touch it. Good stuff. Let's see. Yeah, I would trade it slow. I would trade it really slow if you want to dig yourself out of the hole. You know, if that's the game plan, keep it slow, keep the risk low, give yourself room to work. So breaking the upside, coming to challenge VWAP here in ES. Let's see what we get. I'm starting to consider longs on this again. Just looking at the session, we are below VWAP. We start to get above that and you know, hold above this area of high volume. Again, if I threw a I haven't been running prior days VWAP and anchored VWAP. They're good reading tools as well, volume tools. I know where they are. You know, I have an idea of where this is going to be. Yeah, interested to see if we start to hold above this. I could look long on this. I think we got some momentum to try to come to the upside. We sweep this high and just rip lower. I'm going to be cautious. Again, going to be late to the party either way here. It's only 9:43, 13 minutes into the trading session for me. We're going to keep it chill, let the market show its hand. Just taking a look at the other markets here. Looks like NQ is testing, just tested VWAP, very similar structure out of NQ through yesterday, through the overnight session, and through today. They are looking dang near identical. Very similar out of YM. Didn't come back up to test VWAP, not as bullish of a push so far, not breaking above that those low time frame highs put in around the 8 a.m. Eastern time frame. Again, just running one chart in front of me right now so I don't swap back and forth and have to confuse you guys too much. Yeah, I think we could see a crack to the upside across these. We may want to look for that. Yeah, I could see it going to the 35s pretty quickly if we start to push up on this. I'll zoom out, kind of let you know what I'm looking at. I could see a crack up if we continue out of this area of high volume, past this value area, and to this area right here, this area of consolidation. Before push up, next area of high volume. I'm considering looking at this thing long. Yeah, right at VWAP. This is a dicey one, man. This is a dicey one. Considering a long on this, just would like a little bit of a pullback first. Considering a long to 25, we have liquidity up above. We have liquidity building at 30. Right at VWAP is a dicey spot. I'm going to hop into this one, guys. I'm going to take this one long. I'm going to take this one long. I'm going to allow for a retest of this area of high volume. Maybe a dicey move down below. This is a little bit of risk that I'm putting on, but I am long from 57, 14, 75, breaking the upside. We are right at VWAP. We could see a natural pullback down right off of VWAP, like we are right now. I wanted to wait for a little bit. We'll see what this execution looks like. Wanted to wait for a little bit of a pullback. But we are breaking and holding above on the 1 minute. This area is an area of concern down here. But we have liquidity stacking up above. That's really making a case up towards the 25s, if not the 30s, for me to get long. This looks like a break of VWAP and a crack at least up to the upside. I think we pull back at a certain point, so this isn't a trade I would want to hold on to for forever. This is a wide kind of an emergency stop here. I don't know that I would want to allow this to come all the way back down on me, but I just don't have a clean way to put it underneath this candle. I think that's a silly move. So I'm going to leave this where it is for now. We come all the way back down through the middle of this range before we push to the upside. It's a L for me, and we move on from there. But I may manage this one. Don't know that I want to hang on to it for the entire move to the upside or downside for that matter. We do have 10 a.m. orange folder news. That's a concern. Looking to get in and get out of this one. If it played to the upside pretty quickly, that would be sweet. But we'll see how this develops. But I got to put that one on. Really strong trending to the upside. Retested down here with this wick. Found strength back up to VWAP. Breaking above. We're getting a rejection here. So, you know, I didn't want to wait for this. This looked like a strong potential push up above. Didn't get that right away. Again, running this stop wide enough to allow a retest down in this area. I think if we continue lower, this is where we're going to come and check out. The 5700s is a psychological level. Don't want to allow too much more room than this. That's about as much risk as I want to allow because I'm not going to hold on to this thing for forever. So that's my play so far. I am long 3 micros, 57.14 and 3/4. Stop at 56.97. Rejecting this VWAP area a little bit. Would really like to see a push through, but again, multiple reasons for this trade. Counter to that overnight session, but with that movement from FOMC, with the trend of the session so far, pushing to the upside, I want to find my way into these moves quicker, and I'm trying to challenge myself to do that. Liquidity building up above at the 20s, at the 25s, at the 30s came off. Looks like they moved that down. 30s came off, but we still have quite a bit up here. I like that for the case to be made that we go and grab that maybe before this 10 a.m. news. So that's my play. That's my play. Again, trading along right off of VWAP, right? So a VWAP bounce could easily be in store for this. I'm long against that VWAP, and yeah, that's a dicey play, for sure. But again, utilizing bookmap, utilizing tools here, not looking for a massive move to the upside. Just what's coming to me late in this trade here is the news that we have coming up at 10. Don't love that. Here comes the trade management, the thinking through how we want to execute. Existing home sales. Existing home sales is an orange folder. It's not anticipated to be as high of an impact as a red folder. But that's a dicey one, you know, to hold through. I'm just not so much of a fan of doing that. So we got 9 minutes until that. I'm thinking through whether or not I want to hold this. Yeah, this is a tough call, guys. So, you know, you have to make the conscious decision here. Do you want to leave a trade on through orange folder news? Or, you know, is that going to be enough to get you out? I'm really not a fan of it on a day like today. I do like this trade, so I don't want to take it off and watch it blast off in my direction. But I'm tempted to. Liquidity's still there, man. This looks like an easy crack above for ES. Oh, this sucks. I don't enjoy 10 a.m. news. I really don't. Not a fan. And I think this level could be quickly retested on any type of volatility. I'm taking it off, guys. I'm flat. I think this is a good trade. I like it, but I just don't want to hold into news. It's not my plan for today. There's plenty of liquidity up above. This may rip right here, but we have less than 7 minutes to an orange folder news event. There's been so much volatility in these markets. I think this is just such a clean area. Yeah, here we go to crack to the upside. This is such a clean area to be retested. I won't feel good about getting stopped out for $283 or whatever that number is, and that's kind of an emergency stop. I'd feel worse about that than I will about watching this market go and test value area high, which it looks like we're going to do right now. Coming through the 20s, and yeah, here we go to the upside. So for those reasons, trades off, break even, essentially break even. I liked it. Really took me a minute or two right after I put it on to say that I have orange folder news coming up. Might be nothing, but again, I'm just not a fan of holding into it. Even if I believe I'm on the right side of a trade, I'm on the right side of the market, good risk structure. Just too much volatility, too much increase in volatility, and it's not fun. It's not fun to take L's that way. So this looks good. This is what I was playing for. Again, 5 minutes until orange folder news. Not a major news event, and we'll see how it affects the markets. I can't tell you that I really remember how volatile that traditionally is, but I'm not a fan of holding into it. Again, especially not when we have a level like this, a pretty clear area that we did break and retest a little bit. But even if we are going to move higher, we often see so much volatility right around a news event that I could quickly wick down here, very, very quickly wick down here, find some support and then continue, rather than just keep this nice slow grinding movement to the upside that I would maybe expect if we didn't have news. So I'm out for those reasons. A whopping $9 across 4 accounts. I can go and get my bento box today. Get guac on my Chipotle. But yeah, that's my reasons on that trade. So in and out. We'll see what develops after 10 a.m. MES previous session VWAP is right there, 57. Okay. So we had another potential area of resistance that Wolf was calling out. Yeah, previous day session VWAP right there as well. Interesting, pivotal point, right? Like find some resistance and sell back off or continue above this. So somewhat of a pivotal point. This is an anchored VWAP to prior day's NYSE session, 9:30 a.m. Yesterday. So that is right there as well. That's a dicey area. So I'd agree with you on that. Also days VWAP. You have room up, but I hate playing news. Yep, hate playing news. True state of news. Yeah, it's just not. I find that I'd be on the right side or wrong side of news, let's say half the time, right? Randomly, But there'll be times where I'm on the right side of news, but the volatility is just such a quick movement in both directions that it takes me out before moving in my direction. And that generates like a negative expectancy trading news, because you could argue it's either going to go up or down quickly. And a lot of times in the futures market, it does just push right off in one direction. But there are enough times where you get that crazy wick. Like oftentimes you don't even see it print. I'm not expecting it on this. This is, not crazy. But it does happen. And you just get taken out. Even if you have direction right, your risk structure is good. You're holding through news and maybe it still moves in that direction, but you can't anticipate what that volatility is going to look like. So even though you had everything else down, your risk structure wasn't appropriate for that increase in volatility. This does look like we're going to go and hit value area high, go and hit the 25s before we get this news. That's what I was targeting. Again, not a beautiful risk structure, running a stop all the way down here. Maybe only targeting a push through towards the 30s, but this is what I was looking for. Move to the upside. Again, what was helping me out is my good friend Bookmap, right? Here's what I start to look for on Bookmap. We had big orders down below. They did not really stay on the book. This is what I said when I said 30s had come off. But this, outside of this algorithmic crap that overlaps price, but I like the way this looks, so I leave it on my chart. I don't mind it. There's settings to take it off. This is what I'm looking for. Big stacks of orders on the book. Not huge, but big enough, where we have resting liquidity that I think price is likely to come into. And if it continues to come into and push to the direction of that liquidity, that we may continue to do that and go and grab more. You can see that playing out right here, right now. We have liquidity at 23, at 25. This is overlapping the 27s, not much at 30. We had something up here, but it did come off. This does change in real time, right? Anything can happen, live market conditions, but there we go, cracking through the 23s. Yeah. Again, like I said, I'd be more disappointed if I watched this one just rip my face off to the downside than I am going to be watching it to the upside. All good. 25s right up above. We can watch this together, see if this does start to fill. Again, this is Bookmap, guys. I'll drop my link. I am a partner. This is order flow. We're looking at live liquidity in the markets by way of the current order book, resting, sell, and buy orders above and below price. Just displays it in a heat map. It looks crazy. It's not. It's just a heat map. Here's your current price levels. Here's your depth of market, showing you a histogram and quantity of orders on the book above and below price. It just puts it in a nice, easy to read, way right there. We can see, look, we got liquidity up there. Price is coming up into it. It's filling. We can see volume traded in the volume bubble. We can see volume down here. You can see what happens, right? Maybe it's spoofing, and instead of this happening, this order starts to get pulled as we get close. Price rejects. You can create some pattern recognition around this, because I really don't talk about the narrative behind it. But you can see we're coming into news because look at what happened. Algo's turned off. Very interesting, right? All of a sudden, liquidity dries up on the book above and below price. We still have some orders here, but these they're referred to as like a whole bunch of different stuff. Liquidity providers, algo bans, whatever algorithm turns off right before news. So we're coming right into this 10 a.m. news. Let's see what this looks like. Frustrating to watch this trade play out in my direction, but part of the game. Yeah, would have been giving me 10, 11 points of profit, enough to grab. Yeah, I would have been a $200 winner across 4. But made my conscious decision. Here we go, trading at the 30s. This is what I was looking for. Made my decision not to hold through news. Not very volatile. Not a lot out of this one. Just a continuation. Yep. Let's see what setup we get next. Again, this looks like we could see just natural correction from the downside. There's the 30s. That would have been definitely final target. I'd be out by this point for sure. Here we go, rip into the upside. There's some volatility coming in on maybe that news information that we're seeing now in this 10 a.m. candle. Not a whole lot right off the bat, but that's the crack to the upside. Yeah, gonna watch it run in the direction of my trade. Part of the game. Like I said, made the conscious decision. Make your bed, sleep in it. Don't do the would you could shoulda thing. I find more often than not, if I'm gonna hold the trade into news, it's gonna work against me. Orange folder, maybe, but especially if I'm holding above an area of high volume that I think is likely to be retested, I might not want to hold it. So that's the play. I have one troll question. I'm probably not going to answer it, Wolf. Is the three-headed dragon mean? Yeah, that's just a funny question. Why does YM do its own crap with absolutely no relation to NQ or ES? For the most part, it's positively correlated, but YM does seem to live in its own world. It absolutely lives in its own world, does its own thing. It plays by its own rules. I don't know what the exact reason for it is. Obviously, there's different underlying, it's a different market, right? It's different underlying stocks within that that are affecting it differently than the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. So that's all going to come into play. But yeah, it just does its own thing, man. Does its own thing. Yeah, watching this market just crack to the upside. If you guys hopped on late, had a long trade that I hopped out of before this 10 a.m. news. We're gonna get Trump in a little bit. Yeah, this might not provide too much opportunity for me. There's the crack to the upside, though. Trading the 30s, 35s. What I was eyeballing. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, a lot of strength. A lot of strength out of this market. Opened up to the upside and really has just not taken its foot. Well, opened up to the downside quickly and then has not taken its foot off the gas. No real big pullbacks. Found my way in right down here, coming through VWAP. Again, decision point on the chart, right? Like pivotal point. We look at some of these areas and we say, I think we're either going to make a decision to go up or down from here, or chop, but probably not going to just see nothing, right? We're probably not just going to kind of drift. And we did push off, continuing through this area, continuing through VWAP, and really showing a lot of strength to the upside. Trading out the 42s. Yeah, I don't know that I find a way into this. Let's wait and see. We get some structure. This would be pretty tough to take from up here, but I would consider it. As this looks like we may flip this into a very bullish move, right? Here's what this is starting to look like on the daily chart. That's interesting, man. We had an opportunity to make this a bearish, daily candle and push to the downside. Higher time frames can just be, helpful to kind of frame the reference of what's going on out here, even though I am on the 1 minute. This could be a long wick to the downside bullish candle that starts to form. Again, we come back above this area that was tested. We're above this important area, these candle closures. This could be a bullish move developing. Again, why would I want to look at that? I'm considering, maybe longs from pretty high up already in a move. Do I think there's opportunity to continue and really make this a larger bullish day? Yeah, on a day like today, I do. So, what happened to my vertical line? So we'll see what develops, see if we get a second trade here on the 1 minute, trading MES. Working with some micros. Took a quick long. Amazing how I can rescue this account and not the XFA. Mental precision and barriers are real. 100%. Wolf says true. Agree 100%. We act differently when money's on the line. I made 150% return in 4 days on paper trading. Blew an eval in 3 days. Was testing a strategy on the TradingView paper account that made 150% return. Yeah. Listen, guys, that's the ultimate demonstration, right? If you're in an eval or when no money's on the line, you typically trade much better, right? All things considered, even if you're in live market conditions, like on a demo account, you probably trade much, much better. What does that tell you, right? Even especially if you could do stuff like this, right? Really trade super well. It tells you it's not the strategy, it's not your read of the market, it's not the approach, it's the way that you're thinking about trading, the way that you are letting that fear, greed, hope, outside pressure creep in. To hold you back from executing to your full ability, So to work on that, there's plenty of different approaches, but try to understand it first, recognize it, and it can keep you from strategy hopping or trying to figure out another tool or anything. Consider, Bill, what's up, man? Consider break and retest long on the pullback to 57.23s. Yeah, if we got an aggressive, I don't know that we pull back, man. This is pretty aggressive. If we do pull back to get close to VWAP, get close to value area high, I would look at this for a long, for sure, Bill. That's what I'm waiting for, now. Again, I'm not going to take a real tiny pullback like this. Like, is this considered a pullback? Sure. We got, prior bars trading below prior bar lows. We got current bars trading below prior bar lows. You can take really quick scalp trades right after things like this and say, here's my 1-to-1 right here, right? Just to go up and retest these highs. It's not what I'm doing here on ES. But yes, I would look for a pullback down, some kind of structure to form. for a potential continuation on this day. I think if we're going to pull back, it could be pretty violent. I don't know that we do. Area of high volume right here. Yeah, I think if we come down to the lows of this area, looking at the visible range volume profile, again, this is temporary, it adjusts as I go. But we got a lot of volume here, right? Even looking through yesterday's session, I think we can come down and test the lows of this area. We come through this, I think we're coming to check out VWAP, and we're getting down maybe into this area near near this first area consolidation before we break out. But before that, I'm concerned that we just kind of maybe form a small pullback. We're talking 10, 15 points, and we just keep rolling. Not rolling, keep pushing to the upside, because rolling is a term that would indicate we're rolling over. Yeah, going to wait and see on this one. Going to stay patient. Learning more tools and waiting for more combines to finish. I feel it will give me more confidence. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, hold yourself back as far as like putting more risk on the line, right? There's always opportunity to scale. And you're never going to focus on trading well and executing the way that you will in demo or even better, just with low risk on the line. The moment you put a lot of risk on, or you're trading in XFAs or multiple XFAs, or live accounts with large amounts of money, you start to focus less on the execution and more on the amount of money that you could make or lose, right? Just kind of how it goes naturally. So you really want to have walked across that tightrope while it's along the ground, right? That's the analogy. Trading and risk. It's like walking across a tightrope, right? And you want to walk across it when it's on the ground, and the only risk is that you step off 12 inches. And before you put the tightrope in between two trees, you want to have walked across it 1,000 times while it's on the bottom of the near on the bottom of the ground. And then when you do lift it up, you're in between two trees or two buildings. There's really nothing that changes, right? Walking across the tightrope's the same, the mechanics are the same, but all of a sudden, everything changes. You're looking down, your palms get sweaty, your knees get weak. That fear of heights kicks in because the risk is increased. So that's the thought process. But yeah, that mental stuff is super duper real. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was talking about it with somebody, and me and my wife just watched the Olympics when it was on. Watched it a bunch, and one thing that I took away, which was super obvious, was I don't care for gymnastics or stuff, but we were just watching that. When these guys or girls would start a gymnastics routine, it was the balance beam thing, and they're doing crazy flips. If they hit the first one or two moves that they're going to do, whatever it's called, I don't think they're called tricks, they would crush it, right? The crowd would cheer. They were motivated. They built that confidence. If they flopped the first one, if they fell, they didn't stick it, they fell off and had to get back on, the crowd goes, ooh, and you could see it on their face. It was so painful to watch because oftentimes they would just carry on failing over and obviously they were in their head. Some of them they would start to cry, and it didn't happen often, but when it did, they just went completely off the rails. And that doesn't have to do with how good you are, right? These are fantastic athletes. They're at their prime. These are the Olympic athletes competing in the for the gold. But it showed the power of confidence, and if that starts to get shaken, what can happen? And if you allow yourself to get in your head, and if you allow yourself those emotions to start to creep in, it can just completely derail you. And again, I think it shows so much of a demonstration of how powerful that is, right? And there was a couple times we'd watch somebody would mess up and they'd come back and you were damn, they held directly through it, power to not let the first mess up, not let the first, fall trip you up, and just keep hitting it. And they would almost build towards the end where you were damn, it was cool. But again, yeah, there's a million different demonstrations of this. I look at certain things that I see from the outside, and I'm that's obviously what's going on here. It's crazy to watch in real time. But that was a serious demonstration of it. It's a lot about mindset and risk management. Absolutely. Trendline, no entry today. Trendline trader. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm reading back in the chat. Actually, I think a little differently here. I have a general idea about technical analysis, flag patterns, trend lines, boxes, blah, blah, blah. Trendline trader. More doesn't equal better. It's a lot about risk and management. Mindset and risk management for sure. It's like they say about working out, abs are made in the kitchen. For sure. For sure. Yeah. Mindset 99% for you. Yep. Market's going to be there tomorrow. It's not going anywhere, guys. Ryan, existing home sales, positive news equals buy indices, futures, negative news equals sell, 10 a.m. candle. Called it today. Take notes. Happens every time, not financial advice. Happens every time's a bold statement, Ryan. I don't know about happens every time. But Ryan is somebody that uses fundamental analysis and the what happens after news to trade, and I think it works very well for him. So I think that is awesome, Ryan. Despite how simple you are stating it here, and me spending a lot of time studying it, I was never able to make it work in my advantage. Not even close, despite spending quite a bit of time on it. So that's my response always, the way that I kind of have this grain of salt response to it. But again, I appreciate that it works so well for you, for sure. I always got to check guys when they say happens every time or 100%, right? No 100%. Nothing 100%, but I've accumulated data on it. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, push to the upside, consolidating here a bit around the 40s. Yeah, man, this was my opportunity. This was my opportunity to hang on to this one to the upside. Like I said, made my decision, made my bed. I'm sleeping in it. Not mad watching this happen, right? Not going to spiral and throw me on tilt or start chasing or do anything crazy. I was long from down here, right above VWAP. Took it off, stop loss down low. Took it off due to news coming out, 10 a.m. news. Didn't want to hold through this volatility right here. It did continue to play out right before this 10 a.m. news. Could have grabbed just a small profit on it. But we are since 31 points from my entry. Not that I would have held anywhere near that. Like I was talking about, maybe the 30s, a crack above this area, through this area of liquidity, maybe the 30s. But that would have been a nice trade. Shoulda, coulda, woulda doesn't count if you don't execute. Calling out what might happen is useless for your P&L. So I always recognize that. But again, just watching what happens here, seeing if we get some kind of a second setup. I would like to see a pullback on this down around VWAP to look for a continuation. Something down through this, this wide open price action, this low volume area around at least value area high, like Bill had started to call out, around the 25s, anywhere down from like the 25s to, the 15-ish. That would be really gnarly, and I'd look at that as a reversal. But again, I don't know that we get that. We are consolidating here. This looks like the next leg up is forming right here, right now. I'm not going to trade out of this area. This is a trade, right? If you want to find a way in, here it is for you. I think this would be clear across time frames for a breakout trade out of consolidation on an uptrend after a very, very small pullback for a continuation to the upside. If you're looking for this to continue, it's just not my setup. This is not a great risk structure for me. It's not bad, but it's very far away from where we're at VWAP wise with not a big pullback at all. I'm much more of a fan of waiting and missing opportunity like this if it continues to play out for some form of a pullback and then strength after the pullback. This is just consolidation and an uptrend. Very small consolidation and uptrend, but showing strength, right? 5-minute candle looking good. Like I said, clean across time frames. But just not my trade. Not my trade today. Yeah, not a whole lot this week, man. I mean, across these four, it's Thursday. Like not a lot of progress at all for me. Like $600 or something. I think I took I took one trade live with you guys that played out. No trade Monday. Today's Thursday. What did we get? Yeah, yesterday was nothing ahead of FOMC. I have to go back and look, but yeah, I think I'm net positive like a few $100. So, which happens, right? It's kind of just this, if the market's not setting up for you, don't make it a terrible red week. Take what you get and be okay with it. But yeah, kind of a nothing week, man. Opportunity today, but just timing it with news was dicey. Gonna come into Trump speaking at 10:40, so I'll watch this for a little while longer. But I'm not really enthusiastic about the structure I have to work with now. Good trade today. Yep, market going without us. All letting the market do its thing, and hey, didn't make or lose money, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, for sure, man. Again, I always look back on days that frustrate me the most, and they're the days where I clearly could have stayed out of the market. Like, it's just too dicey. And I've had some of them live with you guys. Just too choppy, like no clear direction. I don't have a good setup, but I continue to trade. I take multiple losses. And I look back and I go, if you just didn't take those losses, you'd be that much farther ahead, right? $1,000 or $2,000 across, multiple days and multiple accounts. And the P&L at the end of the week, the month, the year, it doesn't care about wins or losses. So that Jared Tendler working on your C game, right? Cleaning up your bad trading and maybe just preventing losses, I think can be really helpful, showing up with no expectations. And again, on a week like this week, FOMC, kind of dicey market conditions the first couple of days of the week. And watching a lot of guys struggle, a lot of red accounts, a lot of blown accounts. X is a pretty good feel for that. Like, a lot of people are posting wins and losses, which is great. I think it's cool to do. And you get these really choppy, difficult to work with days. And oftentimes I log on and I'm like, yeah, it was definitely a tough day, man, because it's just straight, blood in the streets, like just straight up red accounts. So. My rules for entry didn't apply, so no trade for sure. No trade translates to saving capital, which is, in my humble opinion, a win. Agree with you. Yeah, preserving capital, right? Preserving capital. Figure out how to not lose money first. But preserving capital when no trade is setting up for you. That's key, man. That's really key. And if you can, I think it's a display of a really mature, not describing myself, but when traders start to mature, when they really start to push the edge in their favor, it's not only executing well and taking the setups when they come, but it's also knowing when not to trade, and not every single day trading the exact same amount. And, just unless you're scalping, right? Unless you're super scalper or something, and having no trade sessions and no trade days that before would have been all red trades, right? And just keeping yourself out of bad market conditions. And looking back and going, not saying, well, there was plenty of opportunity for me there, I had a setup, but saying there was nothing for me there. And I was tempted to take something, but I didn't. And I saved myself, a full stop out or 2 stop outs or something. Powerful. Boring to watch here, I want to get trades on with you guys, put something on. Boring to watch, but, better than me hopping on and just taking losses, right? Or random BS trades. I'm going to try to display what real trading looks like for me on here. That's the game plan. Again, I do stuff, quite a bit outside of these live sessions. But while I'm here with you guys, I'm trading an approach. I'm looking at the market at the open. It's the main trading session. And, I'm waiting for setups to come to me and executing, to the best of my abilities. And sometimes that means doing what I did today. Hop into a long, had direction right, had the read of the market right. You feel good about that. Maybe not because it moved without you. Managed ahead of news, decided not to hold through that uncertain increase in volatility, and made my decision. Now watching the market play out, not a lot of structure to trade off of. Don't know that we're going to get pullback. Again, this looks like the next leg up. A little pullback just to the tops of these highs. Continuation. We may just grind higher. Again, I could see this turning into a slow grind to the upside today without a real aggressive pullback. Haven't seen one, at least so far, for this early session. Maybe we start to come into the midday afternoon. We do see some kind of correction before a continuation higher or just a reversal. That wouldn't be terribly uncommon. But I'm going to sit patient on this for a little bit longer with you guys. Longs on YM paid. Nice. Nice, my man. Thank you for your time. I was about to pull profit using the scalping experiment. Awesome. Send results on Friday. Yeah, man, for sure. Appreciate you you sending that stuff and keep me updated. We'll post a chart in Discord for sure, man, for sure. Maybe this is building for the president's speech and then it's going to dump. You never know. Yeah, again, like he's coming on. Yeah, he's coming on in 20 minutes, so I don't know if I'm getting anything. Trump speaking, I think that was unscheduled and they added that today, but Trump speaking at 10:40 a.m. They have it marked as orange. But I would exercise caution around any time that guy's speaking. And again, I don't know whether it's going to go up or down, but what I anticipate is an increase in volatility, and that can be difficult to work with. Yeah, so again, what I eyeballed out of here is just if you wanted to get really aggressive out of an area of consolidation, not really waiting for much of a pullback at all. Stop loss right below this level. Wouldn't quite pay yet. Maybe you got, really aggressive down here, but I think that would not really be the confirmation that you needed. Didn't quite pay yet, but it's a setup with just really not allowing any kind of pullback through this area and saying, I think this is going to continue higher from up here. But, yeah, just grinding higher, man. Yeah, if I was going to continue through that speech, I'd tell you I probably wouldn't be putting a trade on in the next few minutes. I would let whatever's going to happen through 10:40 to 11:30 happen, and then come back on the charts. Kind of work with that. But yeah, on that note, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I don't see something setting up. I'm not going to look for a short. This is continuing to play out to the upside. Quick longs out of this area maybe would have paid. One trade for essentially break even. Really just cut early. Not really something that moved in profit and came back to break even. Just an early clip. Had direction right. Good risk structure. Good trade entry and location and idea. Didn't hold through news, and I'm happy with that decision. But now, just nothing setting up for me. So, on that note, guys, going to keep it short and sweet with you. Get some scalping in. Talk to you guys more and more about that. I'm making some more long-form videos and stuff that I'm forward testing. Always staying a student of the game, right? Always staying a student of the game. But, yeah, not a lot of progress this week. But part of it. Green, right? Be happy to be green. On that note, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Entertainment purposes only. I'm just an idiot from YouTube. Make sure you read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Subscribe, hop in the Discord, check out the links. Appreciate you guys. We'll see what we get later in the day. If I see something really appetizing, maybe I'll call it out in Discord, but we've been having awesome conversations in there, so we'll continue some of those. Talk to you guys soon. Trade well, structure your risk.